Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Care Team Chronicles. Today, we are here to speak with Mary Bailey, Managing Director of Last Prisoner Project. Last Prisoner Project is a nonprofit organization with a commitment to freeing every last cannabis prisoner. You may have seen their work featured in Billboard, Forbes, or Variety, among many, many other publications, as they are continually highlighted for their commendable work. Hi, Mary. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today and speaking with our community.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm really excited to speak with you today.
Yes, thank you. So the Last Prisoner Project was formed to bring restorative justice to the cannabis industry. About how many suffer from cannabis criminalization and are still in prison to date?
I'm sad to say that there are still over 40,000 people incarcerated for cannabis in America, even though cannabis has been deemed an essential business during a global crisis.
Wow. And it's always a fascinating statistic that in the US, we are 5% of the world's population, and yet we are 25% of the world's incarcerated. What are some of the figures regarding this disproportionate incarceration of Black people and people of color?
People of color are actually 4 times as likely to be arrested for cannabis, even though all races use cannabis as medicine at the same level.
Wow. Yeah, it's incredible. And it's stated on your website that you help cannabis prisoners to become fully free, to mean that you actually have programs in place to help individuals upon their release. So you're not only working to release them from prison, but you're helping them to rebuild their lives. Could you provide us with an example of this and maybe possibly highlight a success story?
Absolutely, I'd love to. Our Reentry Program, I'm really proud of it. Basically, what we're doing is we're creating pathways to employment within the legal cannabis industry for those people who have been negatively impacted by the criminalization of cannabis. Essentially, people are being released after serving time behind bars for cannabis, and we've created a partnership with the cannabis staffing company Vinkst in order to give mentorship to them, to our constituents, and that includes skills training, employability skills, interviewing skills, resume building skills, and just mentorship in general. We also have partnered with some incredible educational providers, including Academy of Cannabis Science, Oaksterdam University, and Greenflower Media. And this is a way for our constituents to also get continuing education and certifications to help them along their path in the legal cannabis industry, because we feel really strongly that anybody who has been incarcerated for cannabis, that they are the pioneers of this booming industry and they're experts in their field, and they absolutely deserve a place in the legal cannabis industry.
Absolutely. That's a great way to support them and to kind of pay tribute to them for making this pathway or paving this pathway for us.
Definitely. We have, we've got constituents that are already in the middle of the program. We are still in development, but we have constituents that are currently in the program. For example, Evelyn LaChapelle. Evelyn's story is really monumental. She never saw any cannabis. She never sold any cannabis, but funding from the cannabis sales went through her bank account. So they tried to give her a 12-year sentence for her role, and she, in 5 years behind bars for cannabis. She is a college graduate. She is, a wonderful person, and unfortunately, she was having difficulty obtaining an event position in the hotel industry, which is where she came from before her incarceration. Working with Last Prisoner Project, she's now been going through our reentry program. She has obtained an amazing position with a cannabis brand called Vertosa, and she is the community engagement coordinator. And she's, one story that I like to share. She also sits on our advisory board, and, she's become a dear friend, and we're really, really grateful to be able to offer support for her and her daughter.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for sharing her story. It's wonderful to hear. And speaking of constituents, many may feel that they don't have much to say, much to do in how these systems can change. But how would you say that constituent advocacy is actually assisting in your clemency efforts.
Absolutely. I feel like every voice should be heard. If you support cannabis as a medicine, or if you're in the legal cannabis industry, then we feel that everybody should have a moral imperative to help, support those who have been negatively impacted. So whether it's going to our website, lastprisonerproject.org, to learn more about our programs, to volunteer with us, even just by following us on social media is a huge help, because if you repost one of our posts, that's a way to educate your community about this important issue. Because most people in America, if you have not gone to prison, or any of your family members have not gone to prison for cannabis, there's a really good chance that you actually have no idea that there's so many people still incarcerated. So as a way of really educating our extended community, the way that you do that is through, today's day and age, especially during quarantine, is through social media.
Absolutely. So if our clients wanted to educate themselves further about these issues, would you recommend going to your social medias as a source, or do you have resources on your website that they could turn to?
All of the above. So if you go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, look under Last Prisoner Project. If you go to our website, it's lastprisonerproject.org. You can learn about our programs. You can learn about who we are. We have some really incredible advisory board members, a lot of celebrities actually. So we work with Damian Marley, Stephen Marley, Willie Nelson, Jim Belushi. We've been really blessed by having all of these celebrity supporters. One of the big reasons that we're incredibly grateful to these celebrity supporters is because they do help us educate American citizens in general about this important topic, and they help us get the word out.
Absolutely. Yes, it's a really great avenue to take, especially if you have the help available to you. So overall, what is it that we could do to help? Just bottom line, if there is one thing or a couple of things that we could just do from here on out.
Absolutely. So first of all, the lifeblood of every nonprofit organization is funding. If you're able to donate, we would gladly accept that help. You can do that on our website, lastprisonerproject.org, or you can text the word freedom to 24365, and it will send you a link to donate to your cell phone. The second way, there's so many other ways to help that have nothing to do with donation. So it's okay if you're not able to help us financially at this time. You can, again, repost our posts on social media is super helpful as a way to educate our extended networks. Another way is, if you're open to it, one of the biggest ways you can make a positive impact on the life of somebody who is currently incarcerated for cannabis is by sending them a letter. If you go to our website, there's an area at the top of the screen. It says get involved. Scroll down and you'll see a prison letter writing guide at the bottom of the page, and it walks you through the process. It's actually really easy. It gives you a directory so you can learn information about the people before you write them. I was a little nervous before I started corresponding with prisoners, and I will say I'm so glad I did it, because now I'm corresponding with, about 10 of them.
Wow.
And these are really amazing humans. And now that COVID-19 is really kind of taking over, they're on lockdown. They're not able to receive the visitors and their family members that used to be able to come and see them. And so everything is through phone and email and letters. So I highly suggest, joining our prison letter writing efforts as a way to communicate. And there's other ways. You can go onto our website. You'll see petitions that you can sign. You can write letters to your legislators, and we help with all of that process. So just kind of go to our website and explore a little bit, and you'll find a lot of different ways to plug in.
Absolutely. I know I've shared a couple of those stories and getting signatures and signing petitions. And so to kind of piggyback onto that, how much do our signatures really help in this effort to release these individuals from prison?
It really does help. Every little bit helps, and it all adds up. For example, we've been doing an awareness campaign for a man named Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson has been in prison in Michigan for 25 years for selling 3 pounds of cannabis. And so through the petition and his website, we've been able to have over 160,000 people email and call Governor Whitmer's office in Michigan and the Michigan Parole Board. And so every one of those calls matter. They all add up to creating real change. And I have a feeling that we are very, very close to getting Michael released. And so, that goes for all of our constituents. So, signing a petition, it really does help. Making one single phone call, it really does help. So, please know that you can make a difference by doing these little, you know, volunteer efforts from the comfort of your own home.
Well, that's good to know. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you, Mary, for this insight. Your work is admirable. It is necessary. And in this community, we really praise your efforts, and we hope that we can help to further those.
Thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say. I will say that it is my absolute honor to do this work. I am absolutely 100% emotionally invested in helping every last prisoner retain their freedom. And once we do this in America, this is a global initiative. So we are planning on doing this work in other countries as well.
That's fantastic. Well, we can't wait to see everything that you guys accomplish along the way. So thank you again.
Thank
And
you very much for having me.
yes, of course. And thank you all for tuning in. Be well, and we will see you soon.